My name is Anders Johnson, and I'm going to moderate this next topic. It's blockchain without boundaries, the way to mainstream adoption. May we have Victoria Gago, and yep, welcome. And we have Mr. Mihai, yep. Mr. Alexandro, and Mr. Sheraz. Welcome.
There you go.
Aquí estamos.
So let's start. Victoria, maybe you can start to introduce yourself.
Yes, I would love to.
Yeah.
Can you hear me well? Yeah? No? Better? Yeah? Okay. So yes, I'm Victoria Gago, currently based in Barcelona, founder and co-CEO of European Blockchain Convention, one of the leading blockchain conferences in Europe. Besides that, I'm also co-founder of European Tech School, a school where we have blockchain crypto courses, and also working lately on a new project where we will be launching a crypto collateralized loan. It's an early stage project. We are initially funded by Blockchain Founders Group, which is a Swiss-German VC. That's it.
Wonderful. I'm Mihai Cristiano. I'm the founder and CEO of Beam. So Beam, you can imagine Beam as being the Web3 generation of a mix between YouTube, Twitch, Discord, and NFTs. I know it sounds big, but we launched a year ago as a live events and streaming platform for creators, like YouTubers, but also filmmakers or anyone who's in the creative business. And basically, we aim to bring the next billion creators and their communities into Web3 and the metaverse. And now we're moving into precisely integrating all those Web3 elements in our platform after doing thousands and thousands of events with the creators. And integrating that in the open metaverse versus the non-open metaverse that we all know.
Yes.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Alex Silvia. I'm the producer and director of the first international documentary about blockchain. As my partner here, Mihai, we've been for many years in the industry, audiovisual communication. We create this project, and we've been filming around the world for the last 2 years to try to share with all the people awareness, the way we can go in the right way is for the people outside this door that have no knowledge. So, and that is what we're doing right now. Deep down.
Wonderful, thank you. Hello everyone, happy Friday. My name is Shrez Ahmed. I am the co-executive director and head of business development of the Crypto Valley Association, one of the largest nonprofits in this space, if not the largest, just under 10,000 members based in Zug to help grow this ecosystem a little bit wider. I'm also the managing partner of Storm Partners, the most inclusive service provider in Europe, where we help with marketing, legal, and financial topics. And yeah, really looking forward to be here in this lovely building of the ICC to, in some ways, preach to the choir.
Yeah. Good, and yeah, I can do a short introduction of myself. So my name is Anders Johnson, and I am the founder of Love.io, and we are a new cryptocurrency that basically using blitzscaling, the same concept that the social networks use to gain mainstream adoption, and new project, but have been in the making, as we say, love making for a long time. So we will talk about that as well. Let's head into the subject. So when we talk about blockchain and to mainstream adoption, what do you see have been the biggest barriers for that in the past, and what do you see the future, how that will bring?
Good question. So barriers, one of them education, obviously. But I think another very important barrier is kind of like to have large corporates, institutional investors involved in the space. I really believe that 2020 with COVID, seeing like that BlackRock, Ray Dalio with Bridgewater Associates, starting talking about Bitcoin and the whole crypto space, has helped that up on the adoption side.
Yeah.
I mean, we've also seen this year commercial banks around Europe launching different types of crypto trading services to most cases high net worth individuals. But I think to have important names out there, large corporates, financial institution getting into the space has helped a lot for the adoption. So one of the barriers I think before was obviously education, but then once they understood, this has helped a lot.
That's good points. Yeah. Is it some you have out there?
Yeah, so if we talk about mass adoption, I think we have to think about the end user first. We're not here to sell anything. We're not trying to sell the blockchain to someone because that's not the purpose. I think the idea is to allow new forms of society, commerce, monetization, financial freedom and independence arise from something, and that something can be brought by the blockchains. So I think just right now in the world, there's not so many people who know that. I mean, of course, there are more and more, but if we want mass adoption, we just have to make that super simple. And the simple things is just being invisible, transparent. One of the things that we look from our point of view is that, you know, entertainment is what everyone wants to do. I mean, people spend their lives on their devices watching YouTube and Netflix, and so trying to bring people from, let's say, the Web 2 world through entertainment into blockchain and Web 3, that's one very fun driver. But if you have to ask those people to first install MetaMask, go to Coinbase, buy some ETH, do a KYC, then you know, go to and end of the fun, right? So I think there are many ways to bring people who are not in the blockchain, who are the large majority, to make that very seamless, and then progressively make them discover how can they do more once they're there. Because there's a real benefit to be there, and also a different way to think, and envision relationships between creators, communities, relations with value creation, and so on.
Very interesting. You have any input?
Totally agree with Mihai. I think that bring new ways to break that barrier that you mentioned. The biggest barrier we have now is that zero information, proper information, the people find outside in the streets. We have tons of inputs. In many cases, not a proper inputs. Not real and let's say trustful information. But it's because they don't have the right one.
No.
We all do. All the people here doing different things to try to break those barriers, but keeping it simple, keeping it closer to the things that they usually use every day, like you mentioned, Netflix, you know, entertainment. We are in the entertainment industry. Trust me, when people is entertained, it's totally open. In the most biggest way to learn.
Very interesting.
And if you can get through those channels, like many other awesome channels, like education, we all agree here in this panel that education is the base for everything. We always talk about adoption, etc., like in this panel. And without education, proper education, let's say with a drop of entertainment, it could be, and it is, it's proven. There could be a way to get some more people close to the space, to this beautiful space where we live in for. without any intentions of selling anything. Just
Yeah.
the, as I always says, delivering that awareness, sharing. This is about sharing.
Yeah.
As much as we share, as far as we will go.
Very interesting. As a developer, do you have any input to that? Being a developer in Crypto Valley, I was thinking when it comes to like scalability of, are you a Solidity developer or?
It's really actually hard to hear you because of the echo.
Okay, so
But maybe
yeah.
if I just talk a little bit on the points of my fellow panelists here, when we talk a little bit about barriers, I think to a certain extent, we often see that there are barriers with regards to regulators or the banking industry, etc. But
Yeah.
I think we often don't take their perspective in terms of this is a new world for everyone. If
Yeah.
you take the metaverse, it's actually a new world for everyone.
Yeah.
And so if I take the Swiss perspective, the Swiss have been early adopters for a very long time. They were the first to bring out the classification of tokens. They've been pushing on a lot of different fronts, but that's only because the regulators, all the, let's say the public and the private sector have been working together to find these things. So maybe instead of talking about kind of barriers, talking about, for example, like being in a big house and different rooms are not lit. And I feel like everybody is there just stumbling around, trying to figure out, okay, what is in this house? How do we turn on the lights? And so I think slowly but surely we're getting there.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main barriers is just that everybody is in the dark. It's not just one, like the banks don't actually know much more than us. The government actually doesn't know much more than us either. And so I think if as a whole globally, we can work a little bit more together instead of saying, okay, it's us versus them. It's the centralized against the decentralized and have a little bit more of a collaborative approach. I think that could stem further adoption. And I think that's why Switzerland has been quite successful in
very interesting. Personally, I was involved already 2015 and was working on this topic, how to get the mainstream adoption. We were a think tank, or still is, 24/7 Block Labs, and been analyzing and the past 6 years to see the developments and what have actually prevented. Because if we compare to like the social networks like Facebook and so on, they could get, like mass adoption in 1.5 years. And what we saw, and that is back to what you were talking about, education and so on, that we saw, because they didn't have to educate people about Facebook to be able to get, like people joining. And probably if people would know what Facebook is today, then no one would join. So they used a very interesting concept called blitzscaling, and that is described by the founders of LinkedIn, Chris Yee and Reid Hoffman, and that is how to blitzscale a network.
It's a great book.
Yeah, very good. And we had that and saw that this is one of the main reasons, because Facebook, they use friend requests. Just like, okay, you receive a friend request, I know that person, I accept, So when we started with Love Cryptocurrency, we were saying, how can you create a cryptocurrency that can blitzscale the same way as the social networks? And through love, that we all have love to each other, that means that you can actually create, that you are sending a monetary amount with love, the emotion. So that is, of course, one major part. And of course, there is a lot of use cases that can be used by streamers, as you are working with, that they can receive like love donations. You have charity donations. It can be connected to e-commerce as well, in loyalty programs and so forth. So that is what we found, that is one of the main barriers. And then the second point that we found that have prevented mass adoption is somehow the centralized exchanges. Like they have provided much use for onboarding new crypto users in fiat on and off ramps, but at the same time also prevented a lot of not so good things like the volatility, manipulated trading, and so on, that have become, like very big swings in the cryptocurrencies. So when Uniswap was released 2018, that we saw that now it's like a big change because we have an automated market maker that can prevent those bad things that the centralized exchanges have provided. But of course, we saw the problem with the increased gas fees of Ethereum, because more popularity, I think it's more trades on Uniswap today than on Binance, for example. So it's with the popularity, of course, the gas fees, and that have also been a problem for mainstream adoption, because you can't have something that you can send $5, but you have $100 in gas fees, you know. So we have been involved in a new chain that is actually launching, that you maybe have heard of, Pulse chain, which is a complete hard fork of Ethereum, and change consensus algorithm to proof of stake, and so that will take down like also the pollution with proof of work. Even if they have done the Casper upgrade, Ethereum, it's still very high gas fees. And then what else will that solve? I would say 3-second block size is one thing that also a Pulse chain have done. So it's a big project that we believed will bring a lot of scalability, and we are building Lavan on that chain. So it's so I would say that blitzscaling is one thing that have prevented centralized exchanges, and then the scalability in the technology have also had a problem compared to like the World Wide Web with internet, when it was so easy to get mass adoption because you could basically do a website and then do business. But here no one can actually do like a lot of business on like Ethereum, which is like the biggest chain when the gas fees are so high.
Anders, I was wondering if I could just interject there. I mean, some of the things that you were saying are very, very interesting, and I think one of the parts of this panel is also about mass adoption. And I think we constantly talk about, okay, have we reached mass adoption yet? Or like, oh, mass adoption is coming, institutions are coming, and our panelists here are all working in some very interesting niches of the blockchain world, education being one of them. And I'd really like to ask them as well are we at mass adoption? And if we are, from the educational perspective, when do we get there? And maybe I'll just give some context for myself. I got my haircut a few weeks ago, and the barbers, they were literally like not just crypto traders, they were like altcoin, or even, excuse my language, like shitcoin traders. Like literally they were cutting my hair like, oh, Shiba this, SafeMoon that. And I was like, but this is crazy. I'm in a small town in Switzerland, they're doing this. And then funnily enough, I was just in Lisbon, I get off I'm in the flight, everybody's kind of scrolling their phones because you just got some service. And there was this like degenerate trader or something. I got lifted up to get my cabin bag, and he was scrolling his portfolio to see if his Bitcoin had gone up 1% or something.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about mass adoption, I'm like, well, I'm seeing crypto everywhere in, let's say, the public retail market.
Yeah.
And so I just would love to understand further. I mean, is there a need to educate further? Because all of what I see is kind of maybe what we in this space for so long, you mentioned you've been in for 2015.
Yeah.
Do we have a perspective of what mass adoption means to us being in the industry that is different to what the public sees? Or how do you see that? So yeah, please, I'd love to know.
Okay, that's a good question. We always talk about this mass adoption. I have to agree with you on something. We have a perspective about mass adoption from the inside. We are inside the house, so we have a lot of information that people outside the door has not. When you put on the table, okay, let's educate. Okay, people needs to be educated or be aware, which is different. We try to push some information that we are aware of, that we manage every day, and put in this concept like we have to create mass adoption. From the knowledge, is easy to say. When you get someone outside from zero, like the barber, adoption, it's not adoption. The information for them is like, okay, Bitcoin, let's gonna speculate, let's go. And they focus their attention, and probably from my personal opinion, they focus on something that is too little compared with the whole picture of blockchain, of decentralization, of being a community, being much more what we live every day. And I think that one of the mistakes that we do all the time is trying to compare our adoption with their adoption.
Mhm.
We already adopted. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, for sure. But
It's,
since everyone here it was a first day for all of us, for me, it was a few years ago when I jumped into this project, and I was a non-coiner. And the people told me about adoption, and I was like, okay, what sort of adoption? Now you realize after a few years that it's not the way. It's not the way you was seeing what they say. And that I think that we have to work in education. For example, she's doing, and many people here is working really hard. We have to focus in a different direction. We have to bring in an easy way for them, and a way to understand what is going on.
but
Out of 10 years.
yeah, so I have an interesting point here, because as we see, and I'm so amazed when I compare, like cryptocurrency as a social network, like it is, like a network, and sometimes more social with all the communities and the tribalism that we have in blockchain, so it's even more a social network than just a network. And what I'm just seeing, and that was also what we in the think tank was discussing a lot, like internet. And I see like my parents, for example, they are on Facebook, and they, it was not that they were educated about Facebook, but they was just like, got the friend request and then they are on, And that is, like if someone would try to educate them how to create like a Facebook account, they would never join, So they joined just because they got the friend request, and then, oh, we are going to be on Facebook, and now they are like using Facebook. I almost, and my father is so funny, he's been banned 4 times, he's 80 years old and been banned 4 times because he keeps on creating new accounts. So it is very, very interesting. So I believe, like when we can solve that point where we actually don't need to educate people, that blockchain, and what you were talking was also very interesting in the beginning, that you say when you are coming into a room and that is connected to the blockchain, and when you don't need to understand anything about blockchain, but you see the use cases on it, and the same when you receive, for example, Love cryptocurrency, you will, it doesn't matter if you're 80 years old, if you have received Love, then you download a wallet, and I believe that is the way that we will get the mass adoption, is when people don't need to understand anything about blockchain.
So I think to your point, there's 2 things that drive people in life in general. It's money and fun.
Yeah.
And we didn't invented anything, right? It's bread and circus.
Exactly.
And obviously crypto and blockchain started with money. That was, it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, now DeFi, and then entertainment.
Yeah.
And the NFTs, it's one representation that we see now of entertainment that's linked with money.
Yeah.
Okay. When those 2 things are the carrots, literally people get educated by themselves very quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's enough motivation, like for your parents to get on Facebook.
Yeah.
They wanted to communicate with you, with their friends. They got to understand how it works.
Yeah.
And, we see it in a practical case on our platform. We have the 2 things. One is the entertainment, right? Creators come, they engage with the audience, they have fun, they do their live events, their videos, and so on. They bring people on stage. Great, they have fun.
Yeah.
But fun without money is not fun.
No.
That's why they live in Facebook and YouTube,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, it's very little fun, not too much.
No.
So how do you bring money and fun together? And so that's the beauty of the NFTs and the Web3
Yeah.
is that financial primitives are integrated in the fabric
Yeah,
of what makes the
Yeah.
clock tick, okay?
yeah,
But also it's not only the direct relationship between, well, let's call them creators and their communities that you can see
Yeah.
in NFT, but also in the video creator space.
yeah,
It's and that's short term.
Yeah.
It's also the long term. How do you become a stakeholder in the long term with your creator or the platform
Yeah.
that works with you, right?
Yeah.
So for the NFTs, you have royalties or benefits.
yeah,
What we implemented at Beam, we opened up our capital,
yeah,
and right now, anyone who goes to invest.watchbeam.com,
yeah,
they can buy shares, which are actually tokenized shares of Beam,
yeah,
24/7. They
Yeah.
have real time, the value of the company, the value
Yeah.
of the token and everything. It's SEC regulated.
yeah,
What does it mean? It means that, and let's set aside the investors, the creators themselves can own a stake
yeah.
in the platform that gives them work,
Very
right?
good point.
And
yeah.
they can earn not only from the commissions or the monetary transaction, they can earn from the value they bring to the platform
Yeah,
in the long run,
yeah,
because they bring a network effect,
yeah.
which is never monetized unless you have a stake in it.
And yeah, and that is, I think that point is like really good that you're making, and I think that what we were talking and what you back to what you said with the barber that was doing like cryptocurrency trading, you know, and so on, and these altcoins and so on. I think that we have thought that that is the way to go to mass adoption, that get more people into trading. And I think that that actually have been something that have prevented, because we see now that, okay, we are in a bull run and everyone is happy, everyone have his mobiles and looking at the gains. But what we also have seen with the centralized exchanges is that people, the small investors get wrecked and then they are gone, you know.
Well, it depends on your strategy.
Excuse me?
It depends on your strategy, right?
Yeah, but you have many of these small crypto investors that comes in, and if you see the statistics, you know, like they say that, okay, 60% are losing, but at the same time, you know, it's like
If you do a holding strategy,
yeah. So of course it has to do that, but I see that I think that is one of the bad things, but with that you have a lot of like the small time in traders, they get wrecked. But I think that is sold actually now with like Uniswap and the automated market makers, because that means that you can actually trade, you know, like NFTs, you know, and so on, without these like the high volatility and so on. So I think that we are coming into like a new era in that sense. Yeah.
yeah. Just wanted to add a point to the question about mass adoption. I mean, obviously all of us are in the adoption sphere, but we are not close to mass adoption at all yet.
No.
I mean, it's still extremely complicated. I mean, now you mentioned Uniswap and all these DeFi platforms. They're extremely complicated to get access to on one side. If you now we talk about crypto. I mean, blockchain is obviously more than crypto. At least you have platforms as Coinbase that are easy to use, which are helping towards adoption. I mean, my mom is 67, got into Coinbase in 2017, and she kind of like know how to do stuff.
She can thank you.
Yeah, exactly. No. And I remember I told her in 2017, buy Ethereum, and then like a few weeks after, she said, I sold Ethereum and bought Bitcoin. And I was like, you did it yourself? I'm like, okay, I don't understand. But yeah, I was impressed by her. No, but the point is, I mean, we're far from mass adoption. So it's great to see these new platforms, DeFi platforms, but they are even further, I mean, further away from like real adoption. But again, I guess when it comes to like normal access, it's still complicated. I mean, especially for many people, just to do like, even it's a simple KYC process, right? To get your profile up and running on Coinbase or whatever platform.
Yeah.
It's complicated. And I have a lot of friends that are like, okay, use this platform. This is easy to begin with. But they're like, oh, and then I have to do this and that. So I mean, we still need to make all types of services much more easier to get to.
Yeah.
Which is one thing on the crypto side, but I guess also in the use of blockchain in general. I mean, I guess we will be at mass adoption when we know there is no blockchain behind, right? I mean, when we're just using something. I mean, even the other day, I had to send some money to a guy in Salvador, to one of their new Bitcoin wallets they have over there, because I asked him to buy the front page of their newspaper the day Bitcoin became a Bitcoin standard. I was like, that front page is going to be a lot of money worth in the future. And then he was like, okay, just send me, to my new Bitcoin wallet. And it was, even that was a bit complicated for him and us. And so, so we are on our way, but there's a way.
And that I think that's also a very interesting point, because we have the onboarding into the ecosystem. So that is like one thing that you must get in. But when you are in and you have bought your first Bitcoin or Ethereum or what you do when you buy it, then you're in the system. Then you can use all these decentralized exchanges. You can have, like a wallet.
There is a big step from buying.
Yeah, but it is too.
Bitcoin
But when you are in the system and you have done your first, then it's like, then it opens up all these with the DeFi that we have
That's
a possibility.
the rabbit hole.
Huh?
The rabbit hole begins.
Yeah. Then you're in.
And maybe if I just can comment on, I know that our time is kind of up.
Yeah, time out.
enough. But
Okay.
If I may just comment on one thing, I think that when we're talking about mass adoption, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody needs to get into the crypto and blockchain space. I think that's often what we consider is that, oh, everybody should be buying Bitcoin. I don't think necessarily. I mean, if you look at, let's say, the stocks, Forex market, bonds, equities, etc., they've been around for many, many years, and not everybody got into those. I don't necessarily believe that's through better UI, UX that we're going to get more people. At the end of the day, there is a lot of speculation within the cryptocurrency markets, and I don't believe that everybody needs to be a professional speculator either. And I do believe that the adoption of cryptocurrencies will come slowly but surely, but we don't need to get everybody into the hype of you need to buy Bitcoin because it's going up. So that's just one of the things that I want to just comment on is that
and the good thing is that all of us here, we are in it early. So that's good. Okay, thank you very much.